Thank you,
Right.
Ji. And thank you, Prana, for a wonderful and melodious session, like you always do. It's a beautiful way to learn bhajans. Great. Thank you. So, very warm welcome to all of you to today's edition of Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. Hope you had a wonderful day or having a good start to your day in India. Let's get started with our today's topic, where we will continue to talk about free will and then what's God's role in context of the karma aspect, right? That's what we've been talking about, karmas and the free will, gunas and all that stuff. So let me share my screen and we will continue with our discussion that we are having on Shloka 5.15. So let me share my screen. Let me know if you're able to see the screen and then we'll get underway.
Yes, we can see the slide.
Okay, great. So I'm just going to put it in presentation mode. Okay, so let's get started with our opening prayers. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening, everyone. So let's get started. We'll start with our Soul Soup segment. As part of our mind management series, we are talking the afflictions of the mind. So the first one is anger. We spoke about anger is the general or the commander in chief of Maya. Nobody is bereft of anger. Your threshold may be different, but it is something that everybody is afflicted with and really need to be tackled. Because when anger comes, Bhagavad Gita says we come down to the level of an animal because we lose the discriminating ability of our intellect. It clouds our judgment, and people can commit such crimes, and they utter such words that they go on to regret later on. That is how powerful anger is, because you just lose the sense of what is good, what is bad, what is right, what is wrong at that moment. The second one we spoke about yesterday was greed. Greed. So today we are going to introduce the third affliction, which our scriptures talk about, and these afflictions are also called diseases, manas rogs. Like physical diseases, these are called as mental diseases um, in our scripture. So today we are going to introduce. Okay, here's a mom with two kids. So we'll talk about who's the mom of these two kids and who are these two kids. So these two kids are anger and greed, and the mother is desire. Okay, this is how the relationship is established. Our scriptures explain it very nicely. Now, they so if you look at what is desire, right? To want, long, or hope for something, which is called kamana or desire. Now, desire has been like in all the scriptures, it is called, it is universally singled out in all the Vedic scriptures as the worst mental affliction. Even in Buddhism, it says the four noble truths. As Buddha had said, there is misery in this world. The second is there is a cause for misery, right? The cause for misery is desire, the second one. The third one says you finish off the desire, and then the fourth one is you finish off the misery, right? That's what Buddha said as well, as one of his four noble truths. However, in the path of bhakti, we don't say we finish off the desire. We say desire is there. We have an inherent desire to be happy because we are fragmental parts of God. We simply dovetail the desire. We go for higher level of desire. But today, let's talk about material desire, um, which has a negative, implications, which is because it is called an affliction of the mind. Now, Sukti Sudhakar states, what does it state about the desire? It says, what do we desire? What are the faculties do we have through which we can desire? We have five faculties, right? What are these? These are the desire to see, the desire to hear, the desire to smell, the desire to taste, and the desire to touch, right? So if you look at, these are the five faculties we have. which have the desire. And like I said, desire is universally singled out as the worst mental affliction. Now, if we look at each one of these faculties, now a deer, it loves the pleasure of the ear, right? Deer, the species. So what happens is it is enticed by the hunter who plays a very melodious music and shoots the deer when it comes to hear it, right? So this sense of hearing causes its downfall. Then we have elephant. It loves the enjoyment it gets from the skin. Now it is lured into the net by a female elephant and becomes easy prey for the waiting poacher. The moth, now the elephant is the sense of touch did its undoing. Now the moth, it lusts for the light to gratify its eyes, so much so that it is drawn to the flame and gets burnt alive. It doesn't care whether it's going to get burnt. Of course, it does not have an intellect, but the sense of sight causes its downfall. Now, the bee, it loves fragrance and it gives because it gives pleasure to its nostrils. And it refuses to fly off even when the flower is about to close at sunset and gets trapped within. So that sense of smell leads to its downfall. And then we have a fish which indulges in its tongue. And the bait is thrown, it nibbles at the bait and ends up in the fisherman frying pan. So one sense is good enough to bring us down. And humans are endowed with five of them, five senses. So we can only imagine the tricky situation or the predicament that humans are in, right? Now one may wonder that why it is known as the bigger culprit than anger or greed. One is, of course, it's a mother. We'll establish that relationship tomorrow. But then anger, people can destroy life and property. That can happen. In greed, people can waste their entire life accumulating meaningless things. Like it could be anything that they want to go for. um, but in desire, they only hanker for gratification and indulgence. And it seems quite innocuous as such, but then it is more dangerous than anger and greed because it is the mother for both of them. And tomorrow we'll establish the relationship between all three. How is desire, anger, and greed interrelated? Okay, one is the cause for the other two. So with that said, now let's get to our shloka for the day. I'm going to recite it, and we can take a few hands, maybe three hands, to take the discussion forward. नादत्ते कस्यचित् पापं न चैव सुकृतं विभुः अज्ञानेनावृतं ज्ञानं तेन मुह्यन्ति जन्तवः. All right, let's take a few hands, three hands maybe.
Okay, those who turn on the camera will go first. Sandhya?
Sure.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Sandhya.
नादत्ते कस्यचित् पापं न चैव सुकृतं विभुः अज्ञानेनावृतं ज्ञानं तेन मुह्यन्ति जन्तवः.
Very nice.
Thank you, Sandhya.
Thank
Aparna ji,
you.
go
Radhe
ahead.
Radhe, Aparna ji.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe.
नादत्ते कस्यचित् पापं न चैव सुकृतं विभुः अज्ञानेनावृतं ज्ञानं तेन मुह्यन्ति जन्तवः.
Very nice. Thank you, Aparna
Yes,
ji.
thank you, Aparna ji. Dinesh ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
नादते कस्यचित् पापं न चैव सुकृतं विभुः अज्ञानेनावृतं ज्ञानं तेन मुह्यन्ति जन्तवः. राधे राधे.
Take one more hand, then we'll get started.
Okay, then let me give it to Riya ji. Choose.
Okay, we can take Udaji as well. That's fine. He's turned on his audio. Go ahead, please.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
नादत्ते कस्यचित् पापं न चैव सुकृतं विभुः अज्ञानेनावृतं ज्ञानं तेन मुह्यन्ति जन्तवः.
Thank you, Riyaji. Udayji, last but not the least, please go ahead.
Go ahead, Udaji.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. Na datte kasyachit papam na chaiva sukritam vibhuhu ajnanena vritam jnanam tena muhyanti jantavah. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, very nice. Thank you, Udayji. So let's get started. So this shloka says that omnipresent God does not involve himself in the sinful or virtuous deeds of anyone. The living entities are deluded because of their inner knowledge is covered by ignorance. Give me a sec. I'm going to share it again. Something wrong. Are you able to see it again? Okay. So let's get started. Yesterday we spoke about how we are, the Maya, when it throws incentives our way or things are going well, we simply digest it, right? We simply digest it means everything that is going well for our life, we think we have a sense of entitlement, we deserve it, and we keep on moving ahead without having a sense of gratitude or even thinking why we're getting it, right? So there is generally that complacency creeps in because we think everybody's having it. So, we need to have it as well. And everything seems pretty normal. And we think we have a sense of entitlement around anything, right? This example we spoke about, the foreman wants to call upon this person. He throws a coin at him and he takes away a coin, the second one as well, and finally he has to throw a pebble at him. Now, this is Maya, and this is how it trains us. Now, bhakti allurements are there, but then the wake-up call can come through Maya, right? Wake-up call comes so that we can draw attention to things that matter in life. And when the wake-up call comes, some people, after getting through that phase, they again go back to bhakti, right? They get a material reversal in life. They get some kind of a reversal, financial reversal, or maybe in some kind of a relationship a reversal, or some kind of a reversal. Then what do? They again go back to bhakti. Okay, we're going to retry. Okay, first time got unlucky, maybe second time, then second time got unlucky, maybe third time got unlucky, maybe fourth time. So this drama continues to unfold, continues basically. So bhakti continues to be their plan A. There's no plan B, right? Because that's the best they know. Okay, we did not get pleasure this time. Next time we are going to extract it. Maybe this time it did not work out. Maybe next time it would. Maybe with this it didn't work out. Maybe with somebody else it would. So this continues. Okay, that this bhakti is continuous. But for some, this wake-up call actually leads them to start seeking the higher truths in life. Okay, I faced a reversal, but then when I read scriptures, our scriptures tell us that is the design of Maya. The good that there was a reversal, so it should result in detachment with the world. So then they start practicing detachment from the world. Some still continue to seek happiness in bhakti, and some start to dovetail it towards God. Of course, it's a journey, so that proportion starts increasing towards God, and then you start seeing bhakti also in perspective, right? It's not a 0-1 game. Now, on either cases, you have to exert your, if you look at it, the bhakti aspect, what does it do? If we continue to seek happiness in the world, it results in 8.4 million tourism that we spoke about. You will keep on repeating in this world because God says, until we are intellectually convinced there is no happiness in this world, God says, like an indulgent father, be my guest. More than happy to give you another chance. See if you get lucky this time. Okay. So he will keep on repeating you in this material world. But it comes with terms and condition. Terms and condition is that it doesn't mean we'll repeat as a human immediately. We will get human life. We have had infinite human lives, and we have had infinite lives in other species as well. But we have to go through that cycle, right? That is why human life is pretty precious. And if we have to wait for another opportunity after a long, long time, then it's an opportunity frittered away again. And on the other side, it leads us a step closer to God realization, which is the ultimate goal of human life. Why a goal? It's not a goal like parents tell us, get this job and then you'll be happy. It is a goal because we'll genuinely be happy. We'll be perpetually happy and we would have accomplished the purpose of our existence. It is a worthy goal in that sense, right? So in this case, because of free will exercised incorrectly, we land here. So that is why I said that free will is a bit expensive in that sense, right? Free will, it's called free, but there's a huge price tag to it. if we don't exercise it correctly. So let's continue to build on this today. Now, what is this? What is it that keeps us intoxicated or infatuated to the world, right? All the fame, power, vanity, luxury, prestige, all these things, money, these are the things that keep us fame, power, and money. It is said, scriptures say that they corrupt. They corrupt us and they're intoxicating. Power corrupts, they say, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And it is said it is possible to pass a camel through the eye of a needle, right? But it is still not possible to extract happiness from this world. Or, even when we are so much infatuated in this world, we cannot turn our heart away towards God. When people are infatuated with these things in the material world, it's very difficult for them to bring in God, because this actually not only corrupts but it intoxicating as well. Yesterday we were talking about the different levels of happiness that are possible in this world, and we have not even tasted 1% of it, and still we are infatuated with this world. That is our sad predicament at this point. In fact, human heart does not even have a capacity to take on bliss beyond a certain point, and we have not even experienced that bliss, material bliss. Forget about spiritual bliss right now. And those levels, God has a way to create it, increase it many folds. Like, for example, if you go to let's say somebody from the celestial abodes. Yesterday we spoke about the different grades, like all the way up to Prajapati, and then Gandharv, and then the king of the celestial abodes, Indra, and his guru Brihaspati. If somebody from celestial abodes actually comes to our planet, although they have no reason to, but if let's say somebody comes and the aroma from their body falls into our nostrils, we will faint. That is how powerful it is. Okay, so the luxuries and the pleasures that we can derive even in this material existence are infinite. We can't even imagine. And we are not even we have tasted it, by the way. We might have become Indra in our past lives, all of us. We have tasted it, we have forgotten it. But the point here is, even in the material world that we are in currently, we have not really tasted the very extreme pleasures that are possible here. And even with little honey drops that we are getting here and there, we are very happy, and that infatuation has to be looked at in perspective. Let's move on now. I'll tell you the story about Indra. Indra is like 6-7 levels above us. Yesterday we saw that gradation, right? So once Indra, God came to him, and Narayan came to him, and he said, all right, Indra, I give you a blank check. What do you want? Okay, let's understand how Indra's mind works. People who are in at the higher level of existence, even in material plane. We spoke about it, the anger, greed, envy, lust, all that stuff. They are also afflicted with that. It's not that they have become much more pure. They also have the same challenges and problems to deal with, even though they enjoy a better existence in the material world. So Narayan comes and says, Indra, blank check. Tell me what you need. And guess what Indra says? Indra says that give me the most beautiful woman on this Brahmand. So God says, okay, fair enough. So he said, are you sure this is what you want? He said, yeah, that's all I want. So God gives him a big line. Okay, all the beautiful women in the line. He said, okay, go pick up whomever you want. So Indra, now God has created something, okay, because he has asked boon from God. So you can imagine the kind of women he would have created, right? So Indra starts with the line. He looks at the first one and falls for that only. He said, I want this one only. So God says, look at the other one. He said, no, this one only. And that turned out to be Urvashi. So when Brihaspati, his guru, comes to him, he's like, with a lot of pride, he tells, this is my prize capture from God. Narayan came to me, and I won Urvashi. So then, his guru says, are you kidding me? What kind of a bhondu are you? God came and this is what you ended up asking for. Now, it may seem to be a bit of a humorous story. I mean, why would somebody do that? But we are we haven't gotten that level of, perfection from God. I mean, he has created something, it has to be worth it. But the point here is we are also have our own stash or infatuations that we are stuck with, and it can go all the way up to Indra. Okay, that is what our scriptures tell us. And this this very concept of going to celestial abodes is condemned, right? Even if you look at in Bhagavad Gita, it says you go there and then you come back. So a devotee, when you understand it properly, you don't even crave for celestial abodes. And when you have proper knowledge, you would reject that because it comes as part of bhakti only. So let's move on. These are the infatuations which at different varying degrees we are all, and these are the ones that we only are holding. Right now, God has not, I mean, He may test us when we start progressing in devotion, but right now, even without testing, we are hanging on to it. Right? When somebody asked what is Maya, Ram Bhagwan asked what is Maya to his Guru Vashisht, and Guru Vashisht went and clung to a tree, right? He hugged a tree and then started saying, leave me, leave me, leave me, right? Like Chipko Andolan. So he thought, what happened to my Guruji? Maybe in the old age, he's kind of getting some hallucinations and stuff like that. He's holding on to the tree and instead telling tree to leave me, leave me, leave me. But then his Guru said, you asked me the question. This is exactly what Maya is. Okay. We are holding on to it. King Janak, by the way. And we are holding on to it, and then we are complaining that Maya is holding on to us. So it's our decision that we have made, conscious decision we have made. Okay, Maya is not holding us, we have made that decision, and that is essentially what is happening. The same thing, how does a person, a madari, or that person who plays monkey, right, or tames a monkey, how does he catch it? It puts a banana or some peanuts inside the jar, and the monkey comes and tries to get that, and it forms a fist. When it forms a fist, it's trapped. All it needs to do is let go of it and it's free, but it's not able to let go of it. Same thing as we are doing, holding on to the Maya, or whatever infatuations we have in this world. So this is the trap of Maya, and it's very difficult to convince. That is why saints come to convince us, let go of it, just free up your hand, let go of the tree. And that is the process. We tighten we have a tightened grip on it, and we start loosening it. And when we start loosening it, that basically means we have started progressing towards God. Yes, Sandhya, you had a question?
Yeah. Can one say that one of the major reason due to which we get attracted towards bhakti is body consciousness?
True, that's a fundamental mistake we have done, right? Because we are in ignorance. If we were already situated in the concept that we are a soul, then we won't be seeking things related to the God body, right? That's a fundamental reason. That's the first fundamental mistake we have done. 2 plus 2 is equal to 5. And now the rest of the equation is going to fall apart, no matter how well our intentions might be, right? How good our intentions might be, rather. So yeah, it's a body consciousness. Where is it stemming from? Ignorance, because we are under the cloud, and the process is to again get back to our real self. We are reintroducing ourselves to ourselves, basically. Spirituality is get to know thyself. That's about it, who you really are. Okay, now let's look at this sapling. Now, when a sapling is there, it needs protection. It needs protection from goat. It needs protection from trespassers. It needs protection from strong winds and strong sunlight and strong water stream and pretty much everything, right? However, and then it can, even if it is not, even the tree that does not have strong roots, it can fall off as well, right? So only a tree that can sustain itself is one which has deep roots. So in that sense, in order to grow deep roots, some process has to be followed, right? Now, we don't want to, now, okay, before I get into that adult baby I showed, right? Okay. So these deep roots, they grow over time. It requires nurturing, and this through spirituality, or through going through the university of hard knocks, which is what Maya presents us. We grow as people, we evolve as people, and we become better versions of ourselves. And if we don't become, if we, let's say, have a comfortable life, no testing whatsoever, nothing to ponder upon, no failures, no adversities, nothing to introspect about, then what will happen is we will end up becoming adult babies. Okay, which, what can happen. So God, through his perfect design, does not want us to become adult babies. He wants us to grow as individuals and keep on becoming better version of ourselves. Otherwise, we will keep playing to the tunes of our mind, and mind is like a stubborn baby, right, which will keep on throwing tantrums. And if we keep listening to those tantrums, we will become adult babies only. Okay, if we don't conquer our this aspect of our anger, greed, and all that stuff, then it's just like being adult babies, nothing more than that. But then God, he has a plan to make us graduate and not keep us at the kindergarten level, right? So his Maya, as his perfect servant, will make sure that we grow into proper individuals and not as adult babies alone. Okay, now the same way, we when we think we treat, so the same way, if we keep on treating our kids very kindly, we protect them, keep them in the comfort zone, then they will not be getting equipped to face the realities of their life, right? We know about that story of a giraffe mother. What is the first thing she does? As soon as she delivers the baby, she gives it a kick, a hard kick. Now, you would say, what kind of a mother it is? She's a very practical mother because she knows that it's only through that struggle of getting that kick, right? Because when you get a kick, it hurts. And when it hurts, you take an evasive action. So the baby who's just about delivered has no option but to stand on its feet and then run. Because mother knows very well that if its baby does not stand up soon and run, then the lion or the tiger would come and devour it. So that's the first lesson it gets. Even eagle, eagle, how does it build its nest? It collects the hard twigs and even the small iron filings and stuff like that, because it needs a sturdy nest, and it builds it really at a great altitude, on higher mountains. And then it starts building it, and then because it is hard, then it pads it, because the babies are about to merge, so it pads it so that it has a bit of a cushion. And then finally the babies emerge and it gets all the nice padding, cozy thing and all fluffed up. But then as it starts growing up, eagle knows now that comfort has to be reduced. So then it starts taking the padding off. When it starts taking the padding off, the baby starts feeling the pinch. And when it starts feeling the pinch, it starts getting out. It's forced to move and exert itself. And when it is forced to move and exert, it starts coming out of the nest that it has created. And eagles knows just at the right time, when it is started to emerge out of the nest, it finally gives it a push. Okay, so when it gives a push, the baby is in a free fall. But when it is in a free fall, it soars its wings and starts taking that majestic flight that an eagle is known for. So we know how the process works, how the nature is designed to grow us wing and soar high. And that's exactly what Maya does as part of the University of Hard Knocks that God has designed. So what it does is it will keep slapping you, like Maharaji said, the chappal jute, the slippers and the shoes it gives us in life. You see, smack, it doesn't make for a nice sight, but this is what we get, and we get habituated to it. And then another, and then another, and then another, lifetime after lifetime, not just in this lifetime, lifetime after lifetime, it keeps on slapping us. And it's one of the best servants of God, because if Maya was not slapping us, we are all too comfortable living in this world. We don't want to get out of this nest, cozy nest that eagle had created, but then it had to become uncomfortable for it to actually even have an incentive to exert itself. So similarly, God has designed test, and Maya will keep us testing us, and even the allurements that he has designed. But it's a long process, and it can take multiple lifetimes. Even Bhagavad Gita says, "Bahu janmanante." Krishna is saying, after a lot of lifetimes, people realize that, what, this was a futile chase. Now I need to really focus on, um, you know, putting my mind towards God and where the real happiness lies. These allurements are temporary, and I just need to make it a priority. So Maya will force us to do that. It's just like this. We are right now, it is called a prison house of God, right? So prisoner and the jailer is Maya. And the job of jailer is to trouble the inmates. Because if you ask inmates, are you happy here? And if they say, yes, we are happy, then the jailer is not doing its job right. That means the purpose of creating that prison is not getting served. People will flock in. People will say that, they will raise their hands and say, I want to get inside the prison because the life is very comfortable there. It happens, by the way, in Tihar jail during winter season in Delhi because it gets really cold. So what people do is they start committing petty thefts. They'll pick a pocket or do some teasing and stuff like that. Why? So that they get picked up and put inside the Tihar jail. Why? Because it's better to spend a cozy night inside the jail as opposed to spending it outside in the winters. Northern India can get really cold, by the way. And then if that is why people do that, because it's much more comfortable inside. But if the jailer will keep their life comfortable inside, they will say, we don't want to, we will become the son-in-law of a government and eat food and be happy and merry here, right? But then they are troubled enough so that they think we need to get out of this jail. And same thing Maya is doing for us as well. It is the prison house of God for people who have turned their back towards the God, or continuing to stay in the conditioned state. And Maya, being a perfect servant of God, or the jailer of that prison house, is going to torment us, trouble us until we get our priorities right. So Maya is the perfect servant of God. If not for Maya, we would not even entertain any saint in this world. We'll say, thank you very much. Why should we listen to you? We are very happy doing what we are doing. So Maya is actually a blessing, that um, rather a perfect servant of God, which is giving us good enough reasons to turn our correct that equation that we have turned our back towards God, but we need to rectify that situation right now. In fact, Maya does two things. One of this is bad, another thing is good. What is the bad thing? It torments us, right? Of course, you don't like torment. It's like burning. So when, let's say, your hand is in fire, two things happen. One is it burns, which is a bad thing. And one is that it gives you a sensation of pain, which is a good thing. Why? Because it's only through that pain you know that you have to take an evasive action. If your hand would not have hurt, like it happens when people suffer from leprosy, they lose their sensation. So even if their hand is burning, they will not know. And if you don't know, then it will burn your entire hand off. So that pain, if we experience pain in Maya, it's like being in fire and your hand feels that heat. It's a good thing. That means you know that you have to do something different. If it would not have pained, you would have absolutely no reason to even think about God, forget about making spirituality, um, you know, to even invest in spirituality, forget about thinking God, the other way around rather. Yes, Sandhya? Okay, it's a thumbs up. So this is how Maya works, so that we get our priorities right. And it will continue to torment us so that ultimately we transform into super consciousness and we become Superman. Okay, now God wants us to become Superman, not Spider-Man, Superman. That's what God wants us. And he will not stop. He'll be relentless because he has faith on us until we become Superman with super consciousness. Okay, so this is the whole idea. Now let's look at this analogy. Does God do anything? Right? We getting back to that topic again. God is not the doer. It's through our free will we are making all these choices, right? And we are choosing Maya over God. But God is not doing that. Now, it's just like a director of a movie. He is giving directions to the actors. Do this, do that. And they have a designated role and they have to go with the script. I mean, these days you have actors, they don't listen to directors. Okay. But I'm talking about an ideal situation, how it's meant to be. You are supposed to go by the vision of the director, right? So they go with the script. They tell you this, do that. You need to cry. Now you need to laugh. You need to laugh in this way, or you need to. So they just have to follow the script around it. They don't use their free will or make choices on what to say or how to act, because you have to follow the director's vision. Now, in this case, the director is the doer when it comes to the movie. He's doing it. The actor is simply following it. Why? Because the actor is completely surrendered. But if actor is not surrendered, then director is not doing it. Similarly, in this verse, if you look at it, God is neither our director nor the doer of our actions. It can happen. This statement would be true only if we were completely surrendered. Otherwise, God is not our director or a doer like a movie scenario would be there, right? In that case, director is the doer because the actor is simply following his instructions. We are not doing that. We are exerting our free will. So God is not our director in that case. Now, in this verse, word Prabhu has been used for God to indicate he is the Lord of the world. He's also omnipotent and controls the entire universe. And although he's conducting all these activities, he still remains a non-doer. In fact, one of the names for God is the Shanguli. He's always 10 fingers away from everything. He's seated within us and still not implicated in any of the things, right? He's just energy, providing energy to us. And he's a non-doer, and he's not a director of our actions until we are perfectly surrendered. Okay. And that's what he's saying, that he's simply going to provide you the energy. You need to determine or discriminate whether it's a good action or a bad action. And he will make you do whatever you wish, but he will note the karma and give you the results around it. So it's like that power company which slaps a bill at the end of the month based on how you have used the power. Right? So he'll facilitate that, not facilitate, but he'll continue to give you energy. He is not going to stop you if you're going to do a bad kill. The karma will catch up with you. His perfect justice dispensing system takes care of it. This is how it works. Now let's look at another analogy. Now some people say that what is the kind of role that God is playing here, right? So if you go to a test match, if you go to a test match and you see that somebody scores a few runs and people start clapping for him, and then somebody has few runs and people are clapping, and somebody has been scoring runs, 20, 30 runs, and nobody's clapping for him, you say it's a very unfair game, right? Until you understand the bigger rules around it, right? So somebody you don't know the rule, there is a game that has already taken place, right? You might be joining the game on the third day, and and by that time one person might have required 10 runs to complete its century, and the other person has just started his innings. So this is how it works. God gives us basically our law of karma works like that, right? We say, right, why good things happen to bad people or bad things happen to good people. So there's a lot of past baggage also that comes into picture here as well. So injustice in the world, somebody's born a millionaire, somebody's born in Somalia. So a lot of it has to do with our prarabdha aspect of it, how we have played our innings in the past, and God's perfect justice dispensing system takes care of it. There are three things God does, right? He's like an umpire. He's simply giving a decision around. Now, if you look equate it to human life or analogy in drawing parallels to human life, there are three things he's doing. He's giving us the ability to act. He notes our actions, and then he gives results in accordance with those actions. That is playing a role of a referee or an umpire, right? Like they do in the game. So umpire is not biased. He's simply giving the result, whether it's a six or an out. He's going to play a neutral role of that of an umpire. And of our law of karma, it works very slowly. They say, right, the wheels of God, they move very slowly. We may think that if somebody is bad, immediately we should see punishment being meted out to him. So it will happen in due course of time, and the karma never misses its date. And there is always a context behind what we have in this life, right? If somebody is born with a silver spoon in his mouth, or somebody is having some kind of a disadvantage to begin with, it could be related to their prarabdha because they have played their innings in the past as well. Because the justice or the law of karma, the justice dispensing system of God is perfect and just. There's absolutely no scope of any error there. With that, I'll take a quick break. Any questions? I know I've been speaking a lot non-stop.
Yeah, question is
Questions.
somebody's asking, I have read somewhere that God ruins your plans before your plans ruins your life.
It's a good one, actually. Very nicely said. There's a saying also in Hindi, right? Swamiji was saying, "Meri chahi na karo, main मूर्ख अज्ञान, तेरी चाही में है प्रभु मेरा कल्याण." So that will be a good prayer. But yeah, he basically ruins our plan before letting us ruin our own life inside. In fact, that is very true. In fact, they said that the worst thing God can do to us is to fulfill all of our wishes, because we are already in a suicidal mission. He's a well-wisher. His plans are he wishes well for us more than we wish well for ourselves. If you keep it at the back of our mind, I think we'll not be disappointed with this decision. So yeah, that is why I say have prasad buddhi around it. Have trust that our Father has our best interest in his heart. He's not a whimsical father or a vengeant, father who's operating out of vengeance or some kind of a punishment or waiting to wield his stick on us. He's a very patient, noble, kind-hearted father and has our best interest, and he doesn't lose hope on us either. So yeah, but that's a good one. Whoever said that, so thank you for that.
Tejas ji had messaged that.
Okay, yes, Tejas. That's a very nice way of putting it. I remember it. All right. Any other questions around?
Yes, there is one more question.
Mhm.
It's just hard to explain this to a young person or child who is facing miseries very early in his or her life. It's difficult for parents to watch. Does it mean that it's parents' prarabdha as well?
Can you repeat that question? Difficult to explain it to kids because
Yeah,
of
I
the
can.
prarabdha aspect of it. I know
Yes.
this concept, of course, requires a little emotional maturity before we can introduce it to kids. It's very difficult, right? So I think we need to dilute this message, especially if you're talking, it's like you deserve it and you've done something bad. Doesn't work that way, right? Even the concept of God until they are ready for it. Even Karam Yoga aspect, when I speak to kids, and I think Ash also teaches, right? So we need to not neutralize, but dilute it a little bit. Maybe, focus on the process, not so much on the results. Tone it down to a level that they can relate to. So karma, it's like whatever it is, it is. We have to make the most of the situation we are in. Maybe that concept would jive well with them. So we can give them an example of a game of cards, right? Game of cards, the hand that you are dealt with is there. You can't do anything about it. Once it's there, it's there. Let's not get into why we got this hand. Now, you can still win with a bad hand and lose with a good hand. Now, it really depends on how you play. So the message could be, let's make the most of, and there are tons of stories where people have had a handicap to begin with. Helen Keller is a beautiful story. She could not see, she could not speak, she could not hear, and how beautiful life she made out of it, right? She said she was so grateful about the life that she got. And on the other hand, we had Elvis Presley, who had everything going well for his life, and he ended up, taking shots and ending his own life. So I think those concepts, we need to tell them more. They are the fundamental building blocks of anybody's character, that we have to take adversity, we have to chin up and talk about stories where, we can make anything out of our life. We have infinite potential, rather than getting into the law of karma until they're ready for that. So we need to let them grow into these concepts as opposed to telling them when they are not ready for it. Then it will be like, oh, what kind of a thing are you talking about? That means God is not just and stuff like that. So I think we need to calibrate our message accordingly.
So, and continuation of the question, does it mean that it's parents' prarabdha as well to see the kids suffer at a young age, whatever miseries or something?
Possibly there could be some lessons. We don't know. It's a very complex algorithm. See, if you try to make sense out of law, let's say there's an atrocity committed on somebody in this world, right? And you say it's law of karma, it doesn't go well, right? What we need to do is, okay, we are in a situation. What is our controllable at this moment, right? Let's focus on that. Are you going to gain anything about by playing a victim card or complaining to God that you have given me a raw deal in this? Are we going to gain anything out of it? If we are going to gain anything out of it, go for it. But our scriptures tell us, if you're going to have acceptance, you will come out better, stronger, and you are setting yourself up for success in your coming lives as well. So we need to align to scriptural principle rather than questioning, is it my prarabdha, why me? Because it will not take us anywhere. It will just bring in more negativity in our life. Right? So that's how I would look at it. See, if there is anything that truly helps us, anybody would do that. The problem is it's not helping us, and still we choose negativity, bitterness, and question marks around these things. So let's try to make the most of that situation that we are already in. That's about it.
So there are a couple of things, and one is on explaining to kids. Sometimes the strategy Cash is saying, Kashmira J is, I use it to focus on being solution oriented. What can I do about it now? Then when can I? So then the why can come later as their understanding deepens. Being solution oriented is anyways a good skill mindset for kids to cultivate.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. Let's be solution oriented around what we can do now that we are here, as opposed to debating on why did this happen. How does it help? You keep on deliberating it for the rest of your life. You can write a thesis on it, do a doctorate on it. How will it help? What can we do? So that solution oriented approach is good way to go about it. Secondly, I think I got a question. I think Tejas, you had asked this question that around karma from our past life, how can we potentially set ourselves for course correction in our current life? See, this is a concept where karma from past life, one of the things I can talk about is our sanskars, natural propensities, right? Now, how many lifetimes? We have had infinite lifetimes. So we have tons of stuff from our past lifetimes. One way we can try to course correct in our current life is to align to spiritual principles. Then we cannot go wrong. Or even if we are going, we are making progress, incremental progress there. And that is where one of the tools that we are talking about is, even for us to exert our free will, we have to take a back seat, because our natural propensities, gunas, will drive us around a particular situation. And that's where you would tell, okay, I'm going to take a back seat and not going to ride a guna in this particular situation, but exert my free will, which is more in conjunction or more in line with what is beneficial for me. So I think that's how we can make incremental progress, because it's not a one lifetime that we are talking about, infinite lifetimes we're talking about. Those sanskars are coming from, I don't know how many lifetimes. They're very deep rooted. And that is why the safest strategy on this path is to keep on adding devotion to the mix, because when we'll add it, what happens is, what we need, it will be provided. More of that will come our way. What we already have, that will be preserved. And that what we have and we don't need will be destroyed. All three things will keep on happening as we keep on progressing in devotion by God and Guru's grace.
So Aparnaji says, let's make lemonade from the lemons.
When we are dealt lemons, yes, it's a good idea to make lemonade. So yes, Tejas, go ahead. You have raised your hand, so let's hear from him. Then to the first
Yeah.
time.
Go ahead, Tejas ji.
Yeah, so my question is, like you said, gunas, right? So gunas are something that you are not born with. It's something that you inculcate or something that you develop with your own capabilities.
No,
Or is something that is
both.
inherent to you?
Both.
Both. Okay, so there's two components
Inherent,
to it.
it is, see, gunas is basically, sanskars is something we carry from our past lifetimes. Sanskars is not from our lifetime. So the key concept about reincarnation is that you, whenever you come back as a human, you come with the same mind. Your mind, as part of your subtle body, travels with you even after life. Okay, so whenever you'll come back as human, you will have to go, you'll be given the same mind at that point. It will manifest in due course of time, right? A baby cannot think like an adult, but your propensities, tendencies, sanskars are deep rooted within, and that is our guna. Now, if you have whatever gunas, proportion of gunas you had, or predominant guna you had in a previous life, that will be there in this life as well. Now, either you can deepen it further by continuing to write that guna, or you can start transcending it by aligning to Karam Yoga, or start moving up the ladder from Tamas to Rajas to Sattva. All choices are there by exerting your free will, but you can do that only when you take a back seat and not simply go with the flow of your guna. That
Right.
is where spirituality comes in, right? You can
So
observe your mind, what it is saying and doing, but you don't have to play along with it. That is where we say take a back seat, witness consciousness, and that's the tool which would enable you to transcend your gunas.
it's like you also you also need to put your effort and make the right choices on the way.
And how can you make right choices? Only when you have the right knowledge and the right value system around it, right? So it's
Yeah.
all interlinked. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Thanks.
Good question. Thank you. Yes, Samira.
What is sanskar in English, Nitinji? There is a question.
Sanskar in English, I don't know. I mean, the closest word I can get around that is, there's no one-on-one translation. Maybe propensity,
Tendencies.
tendency or propensity, I would say.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure somebody's going to Google it up and tell very shortly.
I mean,
Sanskars.
it
Is there
says
a direct?
culture and it is culture.
Yes, sanskar is something.
Way of living, like kind of something.
Yeah, people say it's very sanskari, right? So somebody
Okay.
said, "Are you
Character, sustained values. I'm getting
characteristics, attributes? Characteristic attributes or something like that." Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Which is part of your personality, much deeper than propensity, I would say. But yeah, somewhere around that.
Yeah. So yeah, there are a few hands. We'll take them. Thank you, Samaranji, for waiting. Please go ahead.
Samira.
Thank you. Yeah, Radhe Radhe. I don't have a question generally, but I wanted to tell that regarding the uh, bhukti and maya and spirituality detachment, that when maya slaps us with all its power, we fortunate souls tend to turn towards spirituality. But
Yeah.
after that thing is done, like we move ahead or the problem fades away, we again come back to bhakti, right? But in that sense, regularly contemplating on the thought that it is not for our happiness, it is for the happiness of the Lord that we have to love Him. I think that is something we have to like really develop. And thanks to you for always bringing that up and the classes. Like a small example which I can think of is like a married woman. She tells like Pativrata or Patnivrata. We can call ourselves Krishna Vrata.
Okay, that's a good one. Krishna Vrata. All right, Saviran. That's a new term. We love it. Very nice. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I think the real thing is when things are going smooth in your life, that is the time to invest in spirituality. If we can do that, that's the best thing we can do. Because when we are down and out, unless we have worked on this aspect when things were fine, it's very difficult to do that. Like they say, right? You don't dig a well when the house is on fire. So when the going is smooth for you, if you invest in, in building your spiritual assets, then they will come in very handy when the going is going to be tough, because it's just a matter of time before it will happen, right? It happens. That is how world life is designed. There's nobody who's immune from problems, or they say they'll always have a perfect coasting or sailing in life. That's not the design of this world. That's how it's meant to be as well. Yes, Kumarji. Tomorrow is Hanuman Jayanti, basic. So, are you excited about it, Kumarji? Maybe
I
we'll
am. I
talk
am.
about Hanumanji. We're
Jai,
going to talk about Hanumanji tomorrow.
yeah, absolutely. Jai Shri Ram, Jai Hanuman. Well, it is blissful, and I was going to talk about Hanumanji as well. So, a couple of things before that. Samskars, I believe, is we can say personality or tendencies. Like, for example, a person always gets angry, right? What is it? Is it the others really? He's getting angry at so many people. It is himself. It is his samskars. And so he needs to work on purification of himself to get away from that. So that is my understanding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless
Yeah,
unless that person is born in 80s and he's Amitabh Bachchan, not born in 80s, but angry young man, right?
yeah, I got fooled by him. You know that, right?
Mhm.
Probably you did too, because he was so good at it.
I was too young for that. Amitabh Bachchan,
Oh,
he was
were you?
not
Okay.
even born. So, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so I think a person talked about this, right? A child going through difficulties. Is it the parents? This one also to go through it, right? So a person going through difficulties, it's their own karma. First, we need to understand, right, that we are all individual souls. We are brought together for a purpose, but still we are individual. Our journey is for the individual soul. It is there so that we can help each other out in certain things, but really, we cannot, it's like you eat, my hunger will not go, right? So there's one saying, difficulty is compulsory in life, but suffering is optional.
Misery.
So
I think it says that, what is that? Misery is, what do you call? Misery is mandatory, pain is optional. Somebody can correct me. Okay. Yes, whatever. Same difference.
yeah,
Go ahead.
pain is also compulsory, and suffering is something in our mind, right? We can
Pain is
suffer through that.
mandatory. Pain is mandatory when you're hurt, but then suffering or
Suffering is
feeling
optional, right?
miserable is optional. That is a choice you make. And somebody's
And
feeling
sometimes,
sleepy in the class, huh? Good.
right, and sometimes what happens is people suffer the second arrow. We have talked about that as well. You get hurt by someone's words, and then half an hour later, or 2 years, 10 years later, you think of that and get hurt once again. So that is so stupid, right? So that's one thing I just want to bring about
Thank you.
now. So a kid going through difficulty, why does it affect the parents? Because of two reasons. One is attachment to them, and not understanding that we are different souls.
Mhm.
So what should we do? We should be kind to them, hear them out, and we should help them to help themselves. Thank you. Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram. Very nice, Kumarji. Thank you. Tanmeji. Tanmeji, you're going to ask something which is going to be very difficult. I'm very sure about it. And it may require a call. So please go
Radhe
ahead.
Radhe dear.
Radhe Radhe.
Bhaiya, I just wanted to ask whether is it possible practically to surrender our free will submitting on surrendering our intellect faculty.
Yeah, that's what we have to do. It is difficult, but not impossible, because if it was impossible, then God would have not given that verse, Sarv Dharmam Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Braj, and there would not be any saints, there would not be any sadhan, right? This whole scripture in that case would be, all right, guys, it is impossible, so forget it, do whatever you want to do, right? Krishna didn't say that.
Yes.
So he's telling, even
So I
then,
just
comes to mind, he says that Mana Durnigraham Chalam. That means it is difficult to control. He's not saying anigraham, impossible to do that. Yes, it is difficult, but then it is, all the things which are worthy of pursuit are difficult, right? That is how this designed is, right? There's so many difficult things you have done. When you were a kid, I remember you were not able to turn your side. And then you learned it with practice.
yes.
It's the same thing here.
But while doing so, I just have an example which I witnessed. This Vidyamaya and Avidyamaya come into picture. Uh, I won't be able to explain it directly unless I
You can
explain
explain
it
it to
through an
me.
example.
You can explain it to me and I'll bring it to the class. How about that, Tanmeji?
Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah.
Pratyusha, let's hear from Pratyusha. And then iPhone 173, if you are there, please come back again. Pratyusha, go ahead. See you after a while.
So my question is, if the outcome is determined, then why does one have to work? So I'm asking this in context of
Your voice is not clear. Is it just me? We cannot hear you what you're saying.
Is it
properly.
clear now?
Much better.
Okay. So my question is, if the outcome is predetermined, then why are we working, why are we doing a hard work, or why are we working on a samskar? The context is the samskar is still, it's going to be either tamasic, rajasic, or sattvic. And what kind of samskar should we, inculcate in order to reach God?
True. It's a good question. That doesn't mean outcome is fixed. Now, when you have, let's say you are a thief. Okay, I will not say you are a thief. I am a thief. So if I want to steal, that is my natural propensity. Okay, my tamasic propensity, which sanskar that might have acquired from my previous life. So the moment I'll see something, I'll feel like picking it up. Maybe a kleptomaniac, they call it, right? So that is my natural guna or dominant guna at play because of my past sanskars. Fair enough. But when I'm doing that, I might have heard discourse or something might have fell in my ear where this had said, hey, if you steal, the scripture said, or that Babaji or that Guruji was saying that you will go to Kumbhi Nark, and this is the punishment if you do that. That knowledge might have gotten into my ear. So if I activate that knowledge, my tendency is still saying steal, but I may refrain from stealing. Or I may say, no, 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 let me steal it and give 50% for charity and keep 50% for myself. Or I will say, no, let me steal it and help somebody completely. Or I may say, let me just not do that because, it'll not be nice. So all options are there with me. That doesn't mean once I'm born with tamas, I always have to be in tamas. And when you start doing that, exercising your free will over your natural tendency, then you start transcending the gunas. And that is how we gradually elevate ourselves. That's the whole idea of aligning to spiritual knowledge as opposed to leading a life in de facto mode, which our gunas anyway are driving us at any moment, right? Every moment.
Okay.
Sense?
Thank you, sir.
No worries. Keshavji, by the way, we saw your alter ego, your lookalike here at Family Camp. A lot of people are still confused whether it was you or somebody else. I had to explain to quite a few people it was not Keshavji, because if Keshavji had come there, he would have definitely spoken to me.
Actually, I thought it was Keshavji, but later on, then I realized, okay, his name, he was Krishnaji actually. In fact, I told even Arnimaji, Keshavji is here. Did you see?
The Keshavji, see, people want to see you, so Anybody who's even remotely close to you, they want to believe that it was you. Okay. But by the way, did you have any close brother or a twin brother whom you lost in a Kumbh Mela? Maybe that was a person we met there.
Yeah, you know what? My parents gave us 4 brothers. And
are you Bharat,
then
Lakshman, Shatrughan, or Ram?
I don't know. Only he knows.
Okay.
Only he knows. Anyway, coming to the very interesting questions, you know what? This is how I take it. As you mentioned, stealing or whatever. And like another thing, when we are born in Tamsik, Rajsik, or Satvik. That's not the issue. The issue is if in my previous life I was Satvik, I would be in heaven. Because I was Rajasic for sure, that's why I'm human form. And if I were in Tamasic, I would be in, animal, plants, birds, whatever. Now, coming to the issue, finding habit, it is not that all the time once born, that's it. Then now we are born in a human being, so we are born Rajasic. All are Rajasic. Then we are born in a family. If we were Satvik, with Satvik Gunas, then we are born in a family where there is transcendental knowledge, Gita's knowledge, Sri Bhagavad Gita's knowledge. Then we have the opportunity to progress further. Not that because born in that family, I will grow that. No. Then it's even if you are born in like Vibhishan and Raman, born in Tamasic family from worldly point of view, but Rajasic, Satvik, everything was there. So coming to the point, we have to see at every single day, every hour of our day, my guna which is controlling me, Rajasic, Tamasic, or Satvik. If it is Rajasic, as somebody's mentioned, working hard. That is the quality of Rajogun. So then we need to decide, why work hard? Why struggle hard? Cool down. And if it is Tamasic, then I have to step back. No action. And yes, if I'm in Rajasic, Satvik, then struggle, work hard. Then work hard when you are in Satvik. Satagun. That is Triguni Maya, Yog Maya is controlling us. So we have to take the advantage of whenever we are in Satagun, that's it. And then coming to the another additional deeper thing, am I yogi, dhyani, what am I doing? Yeah. So this is how that's further, not only being in Rajogun or Satagun. No. Satagun we don't create. It is Yog Maya. We are influenced by Yog Maya. So we have to take the advantage of whenever we are in Satagun, like coming into your class, it is Satagun. So take the best advantage we can have. Radhe.
Very nice, Keshavji. Very true. And that's the whole idea of transcending our gunas. And then finally lining our gunas, making it nirgun, where we are beyond Triguni Maya. Very nicely explained. Let's take the last one from Shyamji, couple of recitation, then we wrap it up. Shyamji, you get the privilege of being the last question that you can ask real quick, and then we'll do a couple of recitations and wrap it up. Yes.
Shyamji, Radhe.
You're frozen.
Yeah, it's like. So,
Okay.
Nitinji, there is a question in the chat window before. Shyamji, we're not able to unmute you or hear you. Okay, I think he'll come back. So, the question is, 1 second, let me take that question. I'm sorry, there were a lot of questions actually in the chat, so I'm just taking
Take a
that.
screenshot maybe and send it to me of questions, and then we can bring it to tomorrow's session.
Okay, fine, I'll do that.
You can take a screenshot of all the questions and we'll discuss it real quick tomorrow. Okay, so now any quick announcements you want to make, or we are good for the announcements? Okay, please go check it out. The Bhakti retreat that we did, like, share, comment. We have, even the commentary, the Padvyakya and the Kirtans are available, so you can benefit from them in case you missed out on that. So let's do a couple of recitations, 2 recitations, 2 phases we can take, and then we'll wrap up the session. We are already at 10:05. Yes, Sandhya, go ahead, and then Rahul, 2 hands will take. Please fill out the feedback tracker in the meantime, please. Yes, thank you.
जो स्वामी सो चै कछु, सो नहीं दास कहाय। राधे राधे। सो स्वामी न कहाय, जो दास ही आस लगाय। राधे राधे। जय राधे कृष्ण राधे राधे, राधे कृष्ण राधे। The servant who expects anything from his master is not a true servant. In the same way, the master who expects anything from his servant is not a true master.
Beautiful, very nice. Rahul, go ahead. And Abhaji had a question. We can take it tomorrow. Okay, if one of the discussion let the whole thing go tangent, I'm going to take it in so that we all understand it the same way. Yes, go ahead, Rahul.
Radhe Radhe. जो स्वामी सो चहि कछु, सो नहीं दास कहाय। राधे राधे। तो स्वामी ने कहाय, जो दास ही आस लगाए। राधे राधे। हे राधे कृष्ण राधे राधे, राधे कृष्ण राधे।
Thank you, Rahul. I think one of the questions that came up probably through of some of the people, from an understanding standpoint, that talking about kids. I'll briefly touch upon that. So basically, kids, part of it, you leave them, they're on their own journey, kind of a deal, right? It's not a top 2-minute discussion, but for today, I'll just say that, see, it's like this. Thing that comes our way, it's a partnership God is entering with you, right? If you are bringing forth a soul in this life, of course, there's a responsibility around it. And that responsibility, the best thing we can do to somebody is, the best gift we can give to somebody is to put them on the path to God realization, or can make them realize. We don't have that ability unless we are saints ourselves, right? But if we can give them a good foundation to the best of our abilities, for as long as they have impressionable minds and they would care to listen to you, that is obligatory on us, and that's the best we can do. But beyond the point, you can at best be a facilitator and a friend to them. That too, if they care to choose you as a mentor. But if you think you can intervene in their life when they are 16, 18, 20, 20, I mean, that's a futile exercise. In fact, Swamiji says, when it comes to kid, give them a lot of love till 5 or 7, or for some it could be 8 or 9 as well, depending upon the child. Then bring in then the velvet glove only, just a lot of love. After that, between 9 to 12 or 13, 14, you bring in the velvet glove and iron glove. That means reward and punishment start introducing, so that they understand the good behavior. And after that, whatever you could have done, you have already done. Now you can only be a witness to what they are going to do. And you cannot be a helicopter parent for the rest of their life. So that let go aspect has to come as well. That is what nature teaches us as well. Humans are the only one who want to hold on to it for the rest of their lives. But actually speaking, there's little you can do beyond a certain point. If they come to you as a mentor, as somebody whom they find, as somebody whom they feel, what do you call that, as an advisor or trustee kind of a deal, somebody they trust, then sure. But unsolicited device beyond a point is not truly going to help. But anyways, it's not a 2-minute discussion. I just wanted to correct that. It's not that you absolve yourself from all the responsibilities because they have their own journey. It doesn't work like that. Up to a certain age, we have to take care of them as well. Okay, I think we have already overshot time. So tomorrow we'll continue on this discussion. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your evening and great rest of your day. Please fill out the feedback tracker. Radhe Radhe, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you, everybody. Bye. Good night.